Okay, looks like we are working Baruch Hashem. Good morning, everyone. First of all, today's shir is sponsored in memory of Reb Aaron ben Reb Yaakov Meir. Shem should have an aliyah. Your that is today. And I hope you can see now. Let's see if we can get this on the screen again.
Amen. Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Mar Makomos are now up on the screen. Our parsha is Parshas Pinchas, and in thinking about Parshas Pinchas, I'd actually like to address an issue that relates to Mordechai HaTzadik, to the story of Purim. But to get to that, we have to start at the beginning. You know, there's a very peculiar aspect of Mordechai, which is kind of strange, of how and why he confronts Haman. Why doesn't he just go home? Why does he have to confront Haman to his face? Now, there's a lot to talk about there, and I want to explore that. But to do that, I want to start at the beginning with you. Right at the beginning of the parsha, we're introduced to the hero who saved the day at the end of last week's parsha, Pinchas. Pasuk says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, heishiv es chamasi me'al b'nei Yisrael. Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron the Kohen, returned or removed my wrath from the Bnei Yisrael, Bekano es kinasi besocham, in his zealousness and his pursuit of my zealousness within them, Velo chilisi es Bnei Yisrael bekinasi, and I did not destroy the Jewish people bekinasi in my frustration, in my anger. So I want to understand, many of us are familiar with this pasuk and this parsha, but I want to understand it by re-examining it because we take it for granted. Let's look at this for a second. Number one, we know who Pinchas is. He's a well-known figure. So why is it that the Torah has to tell us who his father was, who his grandfather was? We know about him from last week's parsha. We know about him from his family. That's number one. Number two is, did we ever ask the question, in what way was he Meshiv es chamasi me'al b'nei Yisrael? How did Pinchas stop the plague from the other Jews? Meaning, Pinchas did a righteous and remarkable, heroic act, right? But what did that have to do with everybody else? What did that have to do with the rest of the Jews? Meaning, he did something, it got him great merit, but how did it help everyone else? What did it have to do with the rest of the people that through his act, he removed the Chema from the Bnei Yisrael? Third issue here in this pasuk is, why is it characterized as Bekano es kinasi? What is it about kina, about jealousy, that is the phrase here? Why is that the operative word? Couldn't it have been defending the honor of God? Couldn't it have been L'kadesh Shemayim? Like, what is it about this phrase? It's a very interesting phrase, at least to me, this idea of zealotry, that Hashem is, so to speak, jealous. Why is God jealous? Now, obviously, Hashem Yisbarach is not jealous of anyone. That doesn't make any sense on face value. It's a metaphor, and the idea of us being wedded to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that when we're unfaithful, that creates a sense of tension. It's a mashal. But what does it mean in this context, and why does it use that phrase? So on the first question of why the Torah needs to identify Pinchas, we know who he is. So Rashi quotes in the Gemara in Sanhedrin and a Medrash that appears in several places. You see it here in source 2. Let's see if we can pull it back up. Says Rashi, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Lefisha hayu shivat hashvatim, because the tribes were mevazino, so they were shaming him and humiliating him. Hara'isem ben Puti zeh. They said, have you seen this Ben Puti? Who is Ben Puti? What do you mean Ben Puti? Well, his grandfather was Putiel, was Yisro. And the word Ben Puti sounds like the word Pitain. Shepitain Avi Imo, that his maternal grandfather fattened Agolim, calves, Lavudazara. Look who he comes from. He comes from nobody. No one ever heard of him. He comes from Yisro, who is an idol worshiper. He thinks he's such a big shot. V'horag nasi shevet miYisrael, and he kills a nasi, a prince of the Jewish people. Therefore, so the answer to the first issue, Rashi says, is because the other tribes were denigrating him because he was a descendant of Yisro, and how does he have the temerity to take on a chieftain, a nasi in the Jewish people? Don't worry, he has the authority because he's the grandson of Aaron HaKohen. It's a very perplexing medrash. Didn't the Shvatim recognize that what Zimri was doing, this act, cohabiting with a Midianite woman before everyone, that was obscene? Didn't they know the halacha? Maybe they didn't, right? We know that Pinchas, according to the tradition, Pinchas had to come ask Moshe Rabbeinu, what's the halacha? The halacha, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, is kanoim pogenbo. People who are zealous, pogenbo, they can literally hit him, lynch him, attack him, which is exactly what Pinchas speared him. So they didn't know that halacha, but why are they denigrating him? What's the tension here? It's not just them, by the way. If you look at this Gemara, the Gemara in Sanhedrin first says, you see in source 3, Bikshu malis is pei beis and beis. Bikshu malach ashares ledochafo. The malachim wanted to push him away. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to them, leave him alone. Hanichulo. Kanoi ben kanoihu. Meishiv chema ben meishiv chema. And then the Shvatim. So even the angels were not okay with what Pinchas did. What is it about what Pinchas did that they didn't get? What's going on here? I don't understand. So one way of looking at this issue is that they didn't understand how Pinchas had the authority to do that. What qualified him as a kanoi? If you look here, this is a beautiful sefer, a very important sefer of Chassidus from the Meir Shiloach, the Ishbitzer Rebbe, Reb Mordechai Yosef Leiner. So this is in the first volume. There are 2 volumes of Meir Shiloach on the Chumash. So Meir Shiloach says, you know why the angels and the other Shvatim were not okay with him? Because who of man, what person has the purity of heart, has the authority, has the license to avenge the honor of God from another person? To do that, you have to be on a very high level. Not only do you have to be on a high level, he says, the person has to be completely clean in this midah, in this character. He has to be tohar. And that's why, says the Ishbitzer, HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to say, yes, he's a kanoi ben kanoi, he's of pure thought and pure approach, just like Aaron. Just like Elazar, just like Aaron, he's pure. And this, although he doesn't quote Ishbitzer, there's an entire essay in this beautiful sefer called Asufos Marachos. I don't know if you could see it on the screen, from Rav Chaim Yaakov Goldvich, the Rosh Hashiva Zatzal of Keren B'Yavne, who has an entire essay here as well, who points out that the only license of Kanoim Pogenbo applies to somebody who is not tainted by any other motivation. He's pure of heart. It's a very similar approach to the approach of the Meir Shiloach. You have to be specifically qualified for this. And maybe that's why the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, when Pinchas comes to Moshe Rabbeinu and says, Moshe Rabbeinu, look what's happening. Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, Kraina the Igrisa, the reader of the letter, you should be the one to implement the letter. Meaning, Moshe Rabbeinu understood that it was specifically Pinchas through his sincerity and his devotion and his piety that he and only he had the license to go after Zimri through the process of Kana and Pogimo. So this is one answer to this set of issues, perhaps, that the whole story, the condition of this story, revolves around the fact that Kanoim and Kanos, to be a zealot, is very dangerous. It's only for a select few people. And that's why we have to first give Pinchas his yichus, and that's why the other shvatim were okay with it. And somehow his act, as we'll see in a little bit, maybe in our further explanation, saves the Jewish people. It's velochilisius b'nei Yisrael. So that's one way to look at this. But perhaps, and I found this here, I never thought of this in this way, a different way, an additional way of exploring this and looking at it. Because the word kina, the word jealousy, bekano eskinasi, appears in a very different context, but maybe can give us some reference point. You see in source number 4, what does the pasuk say? In the beginning of Parshas Vayeshev, Perek Lamed Zayin, pasuk Yud Aleph. I should check, actually. I wonder, is this the first time? It might be. I don't know if the word kina appears in Kain and Hevel. The pasuk says, "Vayikanu bo echav va'aviv shamar es hadavar." Who was jealous of whom? The brothers were jealous of Yosef, and Yaakov Avinu va'aviv shamar es hadavar. He watched the issue. He was keeping an eye out for it. So kina. Sour Science, now this is a concordance I'm looking up, not using the electronic version. Kina appears the first time in Chumash. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like the first time in Chumash the word Kina appears. Let's see. No, not the first time. Earlier it appears Vayikanu Oso Plishim. Okay, it's not the first time. But it is interesting to me. The idea of Pinchas being a zealot and being isolated from and ostracized and criticized by his brothers. What happened to Yosef? Yosef had dreams, and these dreams, they weren't just dreams, they were shikol nevuah. There was an element of prophecy in these dreams. Right? First he sees the sheaves, then he sees the sun and the stars and the moon. Yosef had a little bit of prophecy, but the brothers were not happy with him. They had kina. So it might just be play on words, and maybe it's not so nogea to this, but the concept, excuse me 1 second, but the concept is similar. Bekano eskinasi, somehow you have someone who was doing something. Yosef was l'shem shemayim, he was a tzaddik, he was trying to envision something, but not everybody saw it. They criticized it, they threw him in the pit. So what's going on with Yosef? And maybe now we can come back to the story of Mordechai that we opened with and we wondered about. Mordechai HaTzadik sees Haman, and he sees that Haman is parading around, presenting himself as though he is an idol, he's someone that everyone has to bow to. Chazal tells us that he had a little getchka on his neck. And he says, no, Mordechai lo yichra lo yishtachve. But he does something crazy. Instead of saying, no, I'm going to go home so I don't confront Haman in the street. No, I'm going to confront him in the street, and I'm going to stand there, and I'm not going to bow. And he's going to endanger himself and the entire Jewish people. Somehow the actions of one person are going to affect everyone. You see where the parallel is going here? That somehow Pinchas saves the entire Jewish people. Mordechai endangers the Jewish people, but ultimately saves them. So how does that work? What is going on? So take a look here. I'm going to put on the screen, I'm going to read it out for the Sefer. This is an absolutely fascinating and incredible insight. We're going to read it together. A piece from the Heilige Reb Shlomo of Radamsk, of Shlomo HaKohen Rabinowitz, the Tiferet Shlomo. I'm going to, you see, can you see I'm moving on the screen, I'm moving the little arrow. And this piece of the Heilige Tiferet Shlomo maybe can explain to us how we understand the machlokas between the brothers and Yosef, the machlokas between the other Shvatim and Pinchas, and how what Pinchas did, it rescued everyone because of his role. So he says, Achen Yevuar, Al Derech said, this is page Shin Samach Beis. Dihine, behold, Yesh Tzadikim, there are those Tzadikim, Hasasim Usmeichim, who are thrilled, who are so glad, Lasos Ritzon Konam, to do the Ratzon Hashem, Limsor Esatzmo Al Kiddush Hashem, to literally give up their life Al Kiddush Hashem. Umamtzin Esatzmo B'Ratzon L'Makom Sakana, and they endanger themselves, Kedei Laharos Chibasam L'Rabim, to demonstrate and to be a model for others, Eich Shemos Resatzmo B'Shvilo Yisbarach Shemo, how they sacrifice themselves for Hashem. Like it says about Mordechai. He could have stayed in his house. I'm scrolling down. Not to go out. When Haman was going out, everyone was bowing to him. Rather, he wanted to connect with everyone. He wanted to be a public demonstration. Even though halachically, legally, also he wasn't allowed to endanger himself. This is an old machlokas between the Rambam and some of the Balei Tosfos. It's a longer discussion about whether you have the right to endanger yourself for mitzvos when it's not necessary. The Yitzram Atov owns some machmas godol atzam yichu kosa lives on nafshav kedushas Hashem. Amazing. He says that certain tzaddikim, they're on such a high level that they have no choice. They are onus. They are, so to speak, coerced. They feel impelled to sacrifice their lives for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give everything up and to teach that to other people. And that's the same thing he says about Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah, that they jumped into the fiery furnace. They could have hid away. That is the kind of tzaddik that Pinchas was. He says, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, theoretically, Zimri could have turned around and killed Pinchas. Did Pinchas have the right to endanger his life? Says the Holy Tiferet Shlomo, that wasn't the issue. He is the kind of tzaddik who feels impelled, compelled, required, moved to be moser nefesh, to stop the enormous chilul Hashem which is happening. The same way that Mordechai felt that Haman's presence in the world was an offense to the Ribono Shel Olam, and it needed to be confronted even publicly in front of the rest of the Jewish people. That's what Pinchas felt about Zimri. And that's what, I'm not going to read the entire piece, but take a look at this one where it's where my mouse is. My soul goes up to you. It's raised up to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Pirish, even though I will be moser my schar, meaning even though not only will I give up my life, potentially I will be willing to give up even my schar. Even my schar, ruchani amuchona lenefesh, my neshama, he says an amazing, incredible chiddush. That by being moser nefesh, in a case where they didn't need to, let's say Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, or Pinchas, or Mordechai, they potentially could have actually done an Aveira and lost their Olam Haba, and that didn't matter to them. Because it's not about earning Olam Haba, it's about loving God. It's about being devoted to Hashem. about connecting with Hashem and seeing the presence of Hashem in the world. And therefore, if you're on that high level, even if it means doing something that would ruin your own olam haba, doesn't matter, because he's willing to be moser it all for the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He closes the piece. Val Pise, you see at the bottom. Nu chalahavim, we understand what it says in the Mishnah, in the Mesechus Avos. Al tiu ka'avodim hamishamshin esarav almanas lekabel pras. Don't be servants of God who serve for the purpose of receiving reward. Rather, elahavu ka'avodim hamishamshin esarav. Be like servants who serve the master shelo almanas lekabel pras, not to receive the reward. So what does this mean? Perhaps now we understand. Yosef was a great tzaddik, and Yosef had dreams. He had spiritual visions. But the brothers didn't understand that level of a tzaddik. Pinchas had a spiritual vision of the world, and the other Shvatim just didn't understand him. The other Shvatim said, but it doesn't fit in the normative practices that we're used to. They said to Yosef, what are you dreaming about? It doesn't fit. It doesn't make any sense to us, because we work with one ma'aracha, one kind of tzaddik. But Yosef is a different kind of tzaddik. Pinchas is a different kind of tzaddik. He's a tzaddik who, and you have to be at that level to live in this way. He's a tzaddik who is willing to give up everything. You know, there are a lot of stories about many Chassidish Rebbe's masters who were willing to trade their olam haba, give it all away, just to find that connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether it was to do a particular mitzvah, or a chesed, or have an opportunity for a Shabbos. Because it's not about the schar. There's one kind of tzaddik who's about accomplishing the spiritual goals. But then there's another kind of tzaddik who's just about being with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, recognizing God and bringing him into the world in a way that other people don't understand. Yosef L'chura, you could say, Yosef knew he was endangering himself. But you know what? It didn't matter, because this was what Hashem was asking of him, and this was his devotion to God. It didn't matter that he was endangering himself. Mordechai knew he was endangering himself, but it didn't matter. Pinchas knew he was endangering himself, but it didn't matter. He was willing to give it all up. That's why there was tension perhaps in the other Shvatim, because the other tzaddikim, they didn't understand this approach. They didn't get it. They didn't understand that there is such a kind of tzaddik. But maybe now we can understand how that type of tzaddik, the tzaddik who is at that level, who is willing to give up his life to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu into the world, that level of a tzaddik, he affects the entire world. He's mashpia on the entire world. It's specifically interesting that the Sefer Shlomo wants to point out that these were public acts, because he wants this message of Mesiras Nefesh to be known to others. Yosef didn't just have the dreams and keep them to himself. He had the dreams and he shared them with everybody else, even though it was dangerous. But that was the spiritual calling. Mordechai, he did it in public. Pinchas, he risked his life, but he did it specifically in public. And so in that way, not only does he connect to the other Jews, but he almost encapsulates, he encompasses the neshama of the Klal Yisrael, the collective tzibur, because of this selfless devotion. He says, I'm not an individual anymore. I'm willing to give up not just my physical life, even my spiritual life, even if this is an Aveira. But it's all about Hashem in this world. And that's the ultimate collective vision. And maybe that's how, and that's why Pinchas is credited with saving the Jewish people as a whole. Maybe that's why Mordechai is credited with saving the entire Jewish people. Ultimately, Esther brings about the Yeshua. She affects the Yeshua, but it was Mordechai who precipitates it. And maybe that's how Yosef and his vision and his spiritual dreams ultimately saved the entire Jewish people from extinction and famine. It's this high level of a tzaddik. In every generation, there are these people. Halavai, I should even reach out and touch such people and connect to such people, but to have an appreciation that there are different approaches, there are different kinds of tzaddikim, and that there are such tzaddikim who love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, love the Jewish people so much, they're willing to give up everything, not just their olam hazeh, but even their olam haba. In that regard, this model of Yosef and Mordechai can be instructive regarding